hello.
And welcome to the Hildebrand Law Firm topic for today.
I'm Kirsten Hildebrand.
And I'm Matt Kaplan.
And today we're going to talk about what we do when we bring clients in for estate planning, because it's really unique. And I was a teacher before I was a lawyer. I love to teach. And the reason for that is because I think that education is just a basic, super important part of making sure that you are an informed buyer when it comes to estate planning. You know, something that I've thought about recently is that there is no other transaction that you will do in your lifetime that is more important, that encompasses more of your assets than estate planning.
Sure.
And if you're going to spend 15 hours researching your next car, it is a really good idea to spend some time really understanding what estate planning is and make sure that you are clear on what your goals are. And so that's really what our educational process is oriented towards. And it is a process, and it has 4 steps. So, Matt, what's the first step?
The first step is my favorite step. That is the main hub of the education. That is going to be the seminar. We do seminars all around town in the Milwaukee area and even outside of Milwaukee. We do seminars about estate planning, shocker, where we talk about our biggest seminar is called the 7 Threats to Your Estate Plan, where we talk about what are some things that are affecting your estate plan that people don't know about. And so I like to start with the seminar, and the main reason is, Kirsten, is because I want to introduce people to all of the topics that I'm aware of that are of most importance to most people with regards to estate planning, so that they can see for themselves, okay, here's at least what's out there. Because I'm sure you've noticed too, how many people come up to you, I didn't even know this was a thing. I didn't even know I should be,
Yes.
worried about this.
Right, exactly. And the nice thing about the workshop or seminar situation is that you can call. We have them regularly. We can tell you where we're having them. But alternatively, we have it in a video form. And so we can send you the link. And when we send you the link, we ask you to review it and make sure that you have it under your belt, at least having listened to it once before you come in for the second step of our process, which is a vision meeting. So typically the vision meeting is where we sit down with you and we look at what are your goals? What is your vision for the future? How is it that you would really like this to play out in terms of the transfer of your assets when you no longer need them on this earth? And how do we go about doing that for you? And so we do a lot of really important things in that vision meeting, one of which is that we look at your assets. We ask you about, okay, in the video, what really made you think that you wanted to have a certain type of plan and why? And then we go into developing solutions. Here's what the solution is in order for you to avoid the biggest risks associated with that transfer of your assets. So if you want to avoid those risks, then that's where it gets into, all right, then this is a solution. A different solution would be this, or maybe you want to do that. So then we give you options and you make a decision and decide how you want to move forward. I think probably the biggest risk of walking out of a vision meeting is not doing anything at all.
Right, because now after the vision meeting, here's what could go wrong in my estate. Here's what most likely will go wrong in my estate if I don't do it. Here are some solutions that will prevent things from going wrong. And then if you walk out of a vision meeting and decide not to go forward, you are now fully informed. You know what could go wrong. And then if something does go wrong, we had the solutions in place. Maybe you decide not to do it. So that's why, and I love what you said, Kirsten. I think the biggest thing in a vision meeting is what is important to you.
Yes.
In the seminar or the video, we talk about what's important in general.
Mm-hmm.
But really, I want people to tell me, Matt, here's what's important to me. Maybe I have a disabled child. Maybe I don't have any children, but I want to protect my assets while I'm living. Maybe that's important to them. Maybe someone is, I have a ton of children, and I want to make sure everything is fair and
A
easy on them.
ton of children.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
I've had people that have had, I think 12 is the most.
Really? Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you're right. I
They've
think
had a
we
dozen
I think a
children.
dozen. Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe I had a baker's dozen once,
Really?
which is 13. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, could you imagine, who is it, the Duggars? Imagine their estate plan.
Oh my goodness. Who can even imagine? Who can even imagine?
Their thing is probably 1,000 pages long.
Yes. Yes.
So and that's where it all comes out in the vision meeting. Is the reason we call it a vision meeting is because I want you to tell me what your vision for what your ideal estate plan is going to look like.
So the next step after that is the setting of a design meeting. And a design meeting is you come back again for another meeting with us, and we ask you all kinds of questions about how the estate plan should be designed. And it's important to have some ideas in your mind, but we are really good at helping people make decisions and come up with creative options for issues that might have been bothering you for a long time and might have even been stopping you from doing estate planning because, like, let's say for example, I don't know who I would put in charge.
Right.
Well, we have all kinds of ideas and solutions and questions to help you get from having a no decision situation to having a really great plan in place.
Right. Or decisions like, you know, I have a son and a daughter. My son is the only one that uses the place up north. Right now, I want it split evenly between the two of them, but my daughter wants nothing to do with it. What should I do? And my question is always, well, what do you want in your ideal world? If it was up to you, which it totally is, what do you want to do? Well, I want to give it all to my son. Let's go ahead and do that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, isn't my daughter, going to be upset about it? Like, she's getting plenty else.
Or you even it out, or
Yeah.
you say, is it your goal to have it be even or not? And sometimes we'll get, well, we just really don't think our daughter would have an issue with it being unequal. Other times it's like, well, yes, we do want it equalized out. So then, okay, let's look at what the different assets are and how we can make sure to equalize that out, put special language in there with buyout provisions. Because what if also the son has been tricking them for many years and really doesn't want the old cabin up north?
Sure.
And so what if he says, I don't want it? Then how does that change things? So we come up with solutions for all of those different scenarios. So don't be afraid to not have it all worked out in your head. That's why we have the design meeting in place for you.
And one of the things I love giving people at the vision meeting is, here's a list of things to consider at the design meeting. And it's interesting because some people don't look at it. Some people fill it out like it's an essay.
Mm-hmm.
And they come to me and they say, okay, I want this, 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 and that. Great. But the people who don't fill it out, that's fine too.
Right.
That's totally fine. I'm sure you've had people who use the design meeting time to argue with each other.
Right.
With you in the room. And like, I don't know, I love reality television.
Yeah.
So whenever that happens, I'm just like,
oh, this is fun. Yeah, this is great.
Just like, whatever you need to do, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love the design meeting. I think that's when like the real lawyering part of this whole process really comes into work. And then we design everything, and then the client knows at the end of the design meeting, okay, this is how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And then Kirsten, what is the final step?
The last stage is the signing meeting, and that's usually about a week later. We like to keep things on track and get things completed, mainly because one of the pieces of feedback that we get is that people contact other law firms and they won't necessarily get the process completed. Well, it doesn't matter if you've contacted a law firm. If you don't have the process completed, it doesn't do you any good. And in fact, we have a probate case right now where that's exactly what happened. And he was 47 years old and he went into a routine surgery that was supposed to be a nothing burger, and he ended up dying.
Oh, gosh.
And they had contacted an attorney about a year ago, but thought, well, we're young. There's nothing that's going to really happen. And now we've got a disaster on our hands. So it is really important to finalize the process. And so for that reason, we have that signing happen. And at the signing meeting, we go through all of the documents line by line, make sure that you're really clear on everything, make sure that there aren't any issues with like, oh, yes, you're right, I did say that, but now that I see it on paper, I think I want something different. We are happy to make any changes or modifications so that you walk out completely happy. Um, in that process, we put together a big red binder, and the big red binder is intended to be your cookbook.
Mhm.
It's what your rules are now with respect to your assets. Very well organized, makes people really understand and see the significance of the estate plan.
And I think going back to a little bit of what you just said with regards to the length of the process, I get this question a lot. How long is this supposed to take? Really, it's up to you. I agree with Kirsten. I like to keep the train on the tracks 4 to 6 weeks,
Yes.
usually. Earlier, totally fine.
Yes.
If you want to get it done in 2 days, if you have to.
Because you're going on vacation to Mexico and you just realize that you don't really want Uncle Bob to be the one who is the guardian, and
Right.
you want to rename a different guardian, we are here for you.
Yeah,
we
I mean,
absolutely.
I'll stay late, come in early if that's what it takes, for you to get your plan done for sure. And so, yeah, the timing is up to you. But in my ideal world, I like to keep the train on the tracks.
Yes,
I really
definitely.
do. But yeah, with the signing is great. And one of the things I always like to highlight in the signing is I like to keep it in the back of my head. What were some of the issues you told me in the vision meeting?
Mhm.
What were some of the things you said were a big concern of yours? And I want to make sure I spend a considerable amount of time on those issues and make sure, okay, you had mentioned that you don't trust your son with money. Here is his section stating that he has to get permission from the trustee in order to get money. Okay, you wanted to leave things 50-50 to your son and daughter? Here's the section that says everything's going 50-50 to your son and daughter.
Yeah.
And so that's all going to happen at the signing meeting. At the end of the signing meeting, after we're done going over all the documents, one thing that I like to do, I don't know if you like to do this too, Kirsten, but one thing I like to do, I like to make a big deal out of it.
Yes, it is a big deal.
It's a big deal. You're getting your estate planning done. You just spent a lot of time and effort in getting this done. It's a big deal. So I get the witnesses in here. As soon as I stamp that first page, I'm always like, guys, we did it.
Yes.
It's done. Yes, we did it. But so that's the process in a nutshell. However, there's 2 more steps, which we'll get into in the following 2 videos. I want to talk about funding. And I want to talk about maintenance.
Yes.
So the 2 bonus steps. But I think this first 4 steps hopefully gives people a good understanding of the process.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. We are here and committed to your today and to your tomorrow. Thanks so much.